that resonates this particular topic resonates deeply with many of us. Career transitioning and encore careers is something that we will be talking explicitly about. Before we do, I want to give you all just a little information about myself, and then we'll get into a story time. So I hope you are sitting tight. As Jennifer mentioned, my name is Jeanette, and throughout my journey as an educator and speech language pathologist, I have witnessed firsthand the transformative power of redefining one's professional path. In our rapidly evolving world, the concept of a linear career is becoming increasingly outdated. Many of us first find ourselves at crossroads. And at these crossroads, we discover that our passions, our skills, and our experiences can lead us to explore new horizons. This journey is not just about changing jobs. Okay, I want to be very clear with you all. It's about embracing growth, seizing opportunities, and ultimately finding fulfillment in what we do. Encore careers, as you'll hear me call it, or career transitioning, is a term coined to describe meaningful work pursued during a significant career change or a point in our life where we want to embody the essence of lifelong learning and adaptability. These careers offer us the chance to leverage our accumulated wisdom and expertise in ways that create impact and foster personal satisfaction. So today we will delve into these strategies that I've come up with that will help you successfully navigate career transitions and explore inspiring stories of individuals like myself who have found renewed purpose and joy in their professional lives. Okay, so as I mentioned, this particular presentation is called Career Pivoting, and I am Jeanette Washington. As the presenter, it's important for you to get to know a little bit about me and why I feel called to present this information to you. Well, I'll start by saying that I've always felt like a lifelong learner. Even when I was in elementary and middle school, I recall wanting to do work over the summer holidays. I was always someone who felt that the more I learn, the more I know, the better I could be as a person. Don't ask me where I got that from, but just know that has always been on the forefront of my mind. When I was in college, I studied as a speech language pathologist. And simply what that is someone who can work in a school district, they can work in a hospital setting, they can also work in a hospice or nursing facility. And in those spaces, they help people to communicate, whether that is with using a augmentative and alternative communication device, using picture boards, or helping people to grasp certain terms, words, and particular blending sounds. That was such a rewarding position for me. And I thoroughly thought that I had found what I was meant to do here on this floating rock. However, a divorce, a child, a move cross country, all of these things happened. And I started to really take, take a seat and sit in all of these changes and how I myself wanted to change as well, how I wanted to evolve, how I wanted to become the very best version of myself at that time. And that led me to the technology industry. So I worked tirelessly in a 12-week boot camp. And in that boot camp, I gained the skills to learn how to code in Java, Python, and JavaScript. Those are coding languages if you're not familiar. And after learning all of the skills that I needed, then I was thrust back out into the world of work. And so what's interesting, I always like to tell people is that with my bachelor's and my master's degree in speech language pathology, I never thought that a coding boot camp would be far more difficult than those 2 degrees combined. Now, mind you, this 12-week program was like me getting a computer science degree at an accelerated pace. So if you can imagine, I was learning all of the things that were so new to me, but I was committed because I wanted to be the very best version of myself. Tapping back into Jeanette when she was in elementary and middle school, and she wanted to just learn all the things. That's what I found myself doing at that time. So after having completed the boot camp, I began working as a software engineer, and I found that to be really fulfilling at that time. But what I like to tell students that I walk with, people that I talk with, is that, our career trajectory does not have to be just one career. It doesn't have to be linear. It's not like back in the day when our parents worked factory jobs for 40 years. Okay. In your lifespan, you may have 3 or 4 careers that speak to you, and that's okay. Go for it. I empower you to truly expand your horizons and think and dream big. So, before we get started with me telling you practical tips and suggestions on how you can make that pivot or that career transition, I do want to call your attention to my LinkedIn as well as my Instagram accounts. If you find that you don't have enough time to get all the questions out that you have for me, these are ways in which you can contact me after this presentation so that you can get more information on how you can pivot, how you can transition from your life's work to another part of your life's work, okay? So again, that is my LinkedIn and my Instagram, and we're going to go ahead and get started here. So the first thing I want you all to be very mindful of as you are transitioning is to identify your passions and interests. That is the first thing on our to-do list, and I do hope you have a pen and paper or some type of recording device that you can use along with this presentation so you'll be able to go back to this information. So, within identifying our passions and our interests, it's going to be very important for you to reflect on the past, okay? You want to reflect on the activities, the projects, the roles, the disciplines you've enjoyed most, and consider what brought you the greatest satisfaction and fulfillment. So, if you have a little journal, grab it out and start writing down those different volunteer roles, those paid roles, those internships, externships, activities, projects, and all of the things that really brought you to life. What made your heart smile? What made you so happy you were almost feeling like you were your childlike self again? Think about those things, write them down, because that's going to be a part of our process as we are identifying our passions and our interests. Next, I want you to look at some self-assessments online, okay? I want you to use tools and exercises such as personality tests, strength-based assessments, and career interest inventories to pinpoint areas where your natural preferences lie, your natural talents, and all of the things that come to you with ease. All right. Now, there are tons of websites you can go on, and I would say a quick Google search would be helpful, or a quick Chat GPT search would be helpful. Utilize the prompt by saying, I need personality test recommendations. I need free career interest inventories, and use that as a prompt to see what comes out of that. Okay. ChatGPT can also create you an inventory in itself if you ask it in a very specific way. Okay. And last but not least, when it comes to identifying our passions and our interests, I want you to seek feedback. Talk to your friends, your family, your mentors, your colleagues, people who know you well, okay? And a lot of us are maybe not necessarily conversing with our colleagues on a regular basis, but there is somebody in your life that knows you well. And I want you to talk to that person so that they can provide a perspective on what they see as your strengths and interests. It's those little conversations that we have with our family that they start to gauge a sense of who we are. We may not understand it, but they totally get it. And so it's going to be up to you to use them as a means of getting their observations and having them highlight your passions that you haven't fully recognized in yourself. So you may think that you're into one thing, but you may hear from a relative that you knew long before you knew yourself, and they may tell you some things that are quite surprising, in fact. Next, I want you to assess your skills and experience. All right. We talked about how we would need to look at ourselves as far as engaging in a self assessment. Now we're going to dig a little deeper in that way of assessing our skills and our experience. So, first, we're going to conduct a skills inventory. We'll list all the skills that we've acquired through work and volunteering. So think about all of the things you've done, whether it has been data entry, whether it has been organizing different events and functions, whether it has been leading team meetings. All of these things are very important for you as you are writing down and getting a grasp of what you're good at. Okay, what you are passionate at. Next, you want to identify those transferable skills. So as you're writing down those skills, you can determine which skills can be applied across different industries and roles. So for instance, data management could be great in a lot of different industries, mainly which comes to mind is tech. Okay. Being able to organize staff events and functions with ease, that could be great for someone who is looking to get into an entrepreneurial space where they're going to be hosting events. Okay. More skills that come to mind, being organized, that could truly be a benefactor across all boards. Okay. So across every type of job function, I could see organization, being detail oriented. Write down those transferable skills, even if you have to create a little circular mind map and draw some lines to connect some things. Because what we do know is visually seeing these things can help us manifest, and not only visually seeing them, but being able to connect the dots. That would truly help us as we are elevating ourselves to our next role and looking at how we can pivot in our career. Last but not least is to seek feedback. Again, we want to look at people in our lives, whether that is our supervisors, whether it is a close friend, and we want to inquire with them on strengths or areas of improvement. Now, I will say this. If you are inquiring about areas of improvement or for improvement, make sure that you do that knowing that you may hear some things that you don't want to hear. Someone may say, hey, you often come off as lazy. Or, you know what? I think you're a little disorganized. These are all helpful things that you can take to your proverbial table as you are deciding how you can transfer skills and how you can really build up where you are lacking. And we're going to talk about that very soon. So sit tight. Now, we've discussed how to assess your skills and experience, as well as how to identify your passions and interests. So now we're going to move on to exploring new career opportunities. This is the good part, okay? So first, we want to investigate growing industries. As you can imagine, there are lots and lots of industries that are on the incline, especially from the tech point of view. And I am biased because I have transitioned from education to tech. So know that. But I also see every day the growing economy and the things that are evolving and erupting in the tech space, the disruptions that are happening. So I will always say to check out the tech industry, whether you're looking at cloud computing, whether you're looking at cybersecurity, whether you are looking at training AI bots, that is probably going to be one of the fastest growing industries. Next, you want to be sure to attend job fairs and workshops. That may mean you might need to use what people call the old website of Facebook to see what job fairs are happening in your community. What is going on in your local area as it relates to workshops and things of that nature. So I'm going to also provide you with a quick list of some of the fastest growing industries that exist. Okay. So after we do our due diligence and look into the fastest growing industries, which can include healthcare, construction, artificial intelligence, information technology, as I mentioned, cybersecurity, transportation, renewable energy, manufacturing, tourism, biotechnology, e-commerce, financial services, shipbuilding in the US, as well as cider production in the US. As we are looking at these different industries that are growing, and we are connecting with different job fairs, I want you to also conduct interviews with individuals in those particular fields. It could just simply take you to LinkedIn. You can type in healthcare, you can type in construction, and what will happen is you will see that you are connected to people in those industries, and you can send a very quick message to them and tell them, hey, I am conducting interviews with people in fields that interest me, and I would like to know more about the work that you do. I will say that there usually is a 50-50 chance. If that person has the bandwidth or capacity, they'll get back to you pretty quickly. But if not, you have a whole list of people that you could probably connect with. So as your homework, if you have not already, please make sure that you are on LinkedIn and you are using that as a means to connect with people in industries that could potentially interest you. All right. So moving right along, now that we have looked at some industries that are potentially ones in which we would like to transition towards, let's look at the education and training for that encore career or that career that you're transitioning to, because it's all good and great until it's time to provide certifications and to provide some receipts, as they say, to show that you are capable and you are ready to move within this new space. So I would say step one is to enroll in relevant courses. Now, those courses can simply be found online. Those courses can be found within your community. So once you have committed to enrolling in relevant courses, you can do two things. You can do step two, which I have listed here as using online courses and certificates. There are online learning platforms like Coursera, edX, LinkedIn for Learning, and so many more that you can go online and spend some time learning about that particular career. And after you are done learning about that particular career and going through a couple different modules, you can gain an online certificate. That online certificate is going to be great proof that you have invested time and energy into learning more about this particular career field and that you are really ready to move the dial in that career field. You can also consider community colleges. This is something that a lot of people don't think of, but you should certainly be thinking of it. There are community colleges in a lot of our local urban and rural areas. We can connect to those community colleges and learn about the programs that they're offering. Now, some will have scholarships that you can easily able to tap into and work towards. Others may have some type of waiting list, but it's all a matter of going online or going to that community college, speaking with a representative and trying to see what options are available for you. All right, so we've looked at how we can use education and training for our encore career, how we can explore new career opportunities, how we can assess our skills and experiences, as well as how we can identify our passions and interests. And now we are going to talk more about networking and building professional connections. So when it comes to networking and building those crucial connections, there are many steps that need to be leveraged. Okay, so first, we want to always leverage social media because we want to be inhabitants of the time. This is the global era. So there is no reason why we're not online looking for courses, looking for connections, and really looking for a better understanding of the fields that we're interested in and ones that could potentially be within our preferential scope. Okay, so we want to use platforms like LinkedIn, which I already mentioned, to enable us to connect with professionals. We can join relevant groups on LinkedIn, we can share career interests, and we can enhance our visibility, engagement, and other things within our desired industry based off of LinkedIn. I'll take it a step further and I'll say you can certainly use Facebook. You can absolutely use Instagram, as well as Pinterest and Twitter by simply using the search bar and typing in that career of interest. And you can go on for days. Sometimes I find myself going down a rabbit hole looking through all of the different information that's available to me. It can be a little daunting, but it can also be very exciting as you see what's out there, because as we know, the possibilities are simply endless. Next, we want to join professional associations. Becoming a member of industry-specific groups allows you to meet like-minded professionals and access valuable resources that you did not know exist. One cool website that I've often used is Eventbrite. Eventbrite is really a game changer as you go and search for industry specific events that are happening. There are lots of free events, there are events that you have to pay for, but all in all, these are opportunities where you can meet people, you can conduct interviews with these people, or you can just add them to your network. I think networking within these professional spaces is so imperative because you never know who knows who, and you also never know what type of opportunities that they're aware of. So again, you want to make sure you are joining professional associations and that you are accessing all of the resources that a lot of the individuals there have to provide you. This is a great way to foster a sense of community and support. And it's also a great way to meet your buddy in that space or find a mentor in that space. All right, so I've been doing a ton of talking, and I just want to let you all know that I have about one more slide, and then we are going to be answering all of the questions. I mean me. I'll be answering all of the questions for you. So if you feel like you've gotten a lot of information thus far and that you have enough to work with, go ahead and give me a thumbs up in the chat. I want to see that you all feel like you have gained a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of insight to help you as you are looking at pivoting from career to career or looking at transitioning from one career to the next. All right, I'll give you just a minute so I can see some thumbs up, some notes, or anything in the chat to let me know that we are on the right path. So I see a couple Q&As, which is amazing, amazing. Let's get more Q&As going so that we can answer all of the questions that you all have, because I'm really excited about you all going down this journey of learning about what interests you, what passions lie, and how you can transition from career to the next career. Because again, these are not the days and times in which we work a career for 40 plus years. Some people may be open to that, and I'm okay with that as well. But if you're on this particular workshop, webinar, and you have a inkling of change flowing through your blood, I believe that this will be a great opportunity. All right, so there is tons of transformative power of within redefining our professional path as we see the rapidly evolving world and the concept that is completely outdated with us sticking around to a career, and how we can manage to align our passions, our skills, and our experiences as we are embracing growth and seizing tons of opportunities and ultimately finding fulfillment. All right, so I'm seeing tons of questions here, which I'm super grateful for. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk with this last slide for us. And after I'm talking out this last slide, we're going to designate time to get those questions in. So if you have not put your question in the Q&A yet, don't feel too bad. We are certainly going to have an opportunity to flesh out your question. So last but certainly not least is resources and support for Encore career seekers. So navigating the Encore career scene is challenging, but various resources and support systems are available to help you. Okay, we talked about community colleges. We talked about connecting with people in that particular career we're interested in. We talked about using courses like Udemy or edX or Coursera to upskill ourselves. So let's talk about resources and support. So first things first, when it comes to resources and support, I want us to make sure that we are potentially looking at career counseling services. Okay, now this could be somewhere that you find online. This could be through an entrepreneurship program in your community. This could be through a community college. This could be through a multitude of avenues. So I would highly suggest to do a quick search for career counseling services, because that is going to be that one-to-one conversation you're having with someone who knows all about how to make those leaps and bounds. Okay, so specialized career counselors or coaches provide personalized guidance, helping you navigate your career change with confidence. And from my personal experience, I have had a holistic coach, and it was a fabulous experience overall, because I had homework every day we met. I was um, indulged in looking inwardly, being very pensive, sitting still, gathering insight from people I know, and just learning about myself. We are in a time where every other second, there is some type of distraction, whether it is a political distraction, whether it is a economical distraction, whether it is a personal distraction or a professional distraction. So it's nice to be able to sit still and speak with someone who can help you really build out your understanding for personalized guidance. All right, next up is job search websites. We all know Indeed and Glassdoor, LinkedIn, as I mentioned a few times, they offer those job opportunities. There are also tons of remote websites that you can find job opportunities on, and listings for companies. I would highly suggest that if you know the company you want to go to work for, or that you want to transition your career toward, then go on their website. Type in that particular company on Glassdoor, on Indeed, on LinkedIn, and see if there are some parallels, some connections. Maybe you know people who work there and you didn't even realize it. Okay, so I want to empower you to certainly look into that. All right, so I am all set. I'm all done, and I'm going to open the floor for all of those great questions that you all added to our Q&A. Looks like I have about 4. So I'm just, oh, it looks like more is coming in. So we'll get started with the very first question. And the question is, were there prerequisites for the boot camp that I went to? Any compliance and or boot camps out there? If so, then are there employers who value such during the hiring process? Entry-level jobs are not. Okay, so the boot camp I went to was actually pretty spectacular. I'll tell you more. So it's called Grand Circus. It's located in Detroit, Michigan. And I actually got a grant from the city of Detroit to attend the boot camp. The boot camp was about 8 to 10,000 USD. And at the time, I did not have that. I was just transitioning to Michigan from Mississippi. I went to school in Mississippi. And when I say school, I went to college in Mississippi. So when I came to Michigan, I was divorced, I had my child, and I did not financially have the ability to pay for that particular boot camp. So the prerequisites were that I just needed to be someone who wanted to work in tech. That was it. I did interview twice with the boot camp beforehand because they wanted to make sure that I had everything I needed to succeed. Just because I said I wanted to work in tech didn't mean that I had the will, the interest, the motivation, and those types of soft skills were really, really something that they looked at. So there weren't prerequisites. The boot camp also had really cool components where we would be interviewing throughout each week with companies to build our stamina for the interview process. And then the last week of the boot camp, we actually created our own apps, and they invited employers in so that they could see us present our apps. So throughout the boot camp, there were components for us to definitely be seen by employers. And so I would say, if you are interested in a boot camp, make sure you find out whether there will be opportunities for employers to come on the scene. Because essentially what you want to do is leave the boot camp and begin working. You don't want to do this boot camp that's 12 weeks and that's costing $8,000 to $10,000 and then be unemployed. So if you are doing your research, make sure you find out whether the boot camps have opportunities for you to connect with employers, because I actually was able to get a job before I even left the boot camp. The boot camp was over week 12. By week 10, I had a job offer. So that's kind of how you want to be able to set up things. All right, thanks for promoting professional networks. I've been a member of many over the years, but I sense the younger professionals aren't joiners and membership associations are declining. Do you see any evidence? So I will say, I think social media has definitely put a damper in how people are physically showing up to these professional associations, how they're meeting up, and things like that. So I would say I agree on that, but there is so much value in building your professional network through a professional association. A lot of times the people that are there will converse with you because you all are on the same path. You all are like-minded. So you may have someone that is a CEO of a company, and they would be more open to providing you with gems and helping you to get to that next level because you all have that common interest. So again, research. I have seen a decline, but there are some tried and true professional organizations where people are still trying to help uplift one another. The one that comes to my mind is NABJ, the National Association for Black Journalists. That one has been around forever, and I always see value in their physical meetups where people are linking up with one another. Okay. All right. So the next question is, what do you do when you feel stuck or stagnant? That's a common feeling. First, I would say to acknowledge that this is certainly not a very new feeling for anyone. We all get to the point where we're stuck, we're stagnant. We just feel like we don't know how to come up for air. We've been drowning, whether that's in debt or just drowning in a lifestyle that no longer suits you and no longer fills your cup. So I would say first of all, I'm an avid reader. So I love self-help books. I would say read, but we also have to be mindful that reading can be a luxury sometimes. We don't often have the ability to sit for 30 minutes to an hour to read a book. So I would say do some journaling. Do some journaling. Hop on Chat GPT and say this is a prompt. You can say, create 10 journal prompts or journal entries for me as someone that is looking to change careers or for someone that feels stuck in their current routine. And you'd be surprised at the really amazing article, well, not article, but the entries that'll be presented to you. I've done that before, and they ask me questions like, when is the last time you've laughed really hard? And as you are writing that or articulating that, you may see some alignments like, wow, I was laughing while I was working with my niece and nephew who are children, and maybe I need to be working in a capacity where I get to spend time with children. Like, you'll see how everything connects. So definitely check out ChatGPT. Ask them to create you some journal prompts that will help you to feel unstuck. And you can get more specific because maybe you are stuck personally, maybe you are stuck professionally, or both. But that would be my advice to you. All right, so last but not least, LinkedIn has become a platform where folks accept your connections, but will not answer job-related inquiries. For me, I do believe that what once was is not what we're experiencing now. So you have to get creative. If it's somebody that is in your local area and it shows that they're currently where you are, say, hey, can I take you out for a coffee so I can ask you a little bit more about the work that you do? I think when someone offers me coffee, tea, and shows me that, hey, I do value your time and I don't expect to just take all of the information from you, write it down and say bye. It does make me feel good. And I am more inclined to provide them with some additional information. You have to always remember too, people are operating from their level of availability, their level of care. And sometimes people don't have the time. They just don't have it. The particular industry that they're in is draining all of their ability to reach out and connect. So one thing that I have found helpful is that I joined the SBA SCORE program and I got a mentor. And my mentor calls me every week. We talk for an hour and we really unload, offload information with one another. And that's been a game changer for me. So check out SCORE. That is a small business association governmental site where they offer mentors, and maybe that's what you need. Somebody that can just get you to that next plateau and you'll take it from there. All right, so I have answered all of the questions that, let's see, that were in the Q&A. Let's see if there were any more that came in. All right. Okay. I'm just looking really quickly. All right, so I know the chat is disabled, so that's the only way you all are able to send Q&A. So feel free to pop more questions in, but if you don't have any questions, then I just gave you all back about 10 minutes of your time. So I would love for Jennifer to hop on in and let me know if there's anything else that I can share with you all. If you want to know more about my story, I'd be happy to tell you more about my story. If you want some additional references as far as what industries are exploding and overperforming right now, I can certainly assist you all with that. Let me know, because I am here.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. One of the questions we may get is about the slides. I don't know if you are open to sharing them, and if so, we can attach them to this presentation so that folks can get access to it.
Yes, I am certainly open to sharing my slides. I don't mind at all. I hope you
Perfect.
all will feel compelled to reach out.
Perfect. And you've provided your LinkedIn information, so feel free to connect with Jeanette on LinkedIn. And Jeanette, thank you so much for your time. For those of you who came on the entails, I know folks may be going in and out with employers. This is recorded, so all day it will be re-looping. So if you missed it, you can kind of come back into the room and it'll re-loop again once you're able to get in the room. But again, thank you so much, Jeanette, for your time and for sharing your experience with this very difficult pathway of transitioning from industry to industry. I to tell folks all the time who I speak with that, you know, there are folks who've done it, but it's very difficult, but it can be done. So really, really appreciate you sharing your time and look forward to always staying in touch and connecting with you again on this important topic.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day, everyone. More to come. So stay tuned for our next workshop, which is coming up at 12. See you soon. Bye.